When it comes to motorbikes, Honda is right up there with the big guns. The Goldwing, the Fireblade, the Super Blackbird. These are the machines of myth, legend, and biker folklore. Nothing says proper bike like a Honda. And then there was this one. This is the mighty Honda Motocompo from 1981. Throbbing away down there is a 49cc two-stroke producing a scarcely believable 2.5 horsepower. Top speed, 18 miles an hour. Oh yes, the freedom of the road. This is what it's all about.
The Motocompo is what Honda called a trunk bike, a sort of suitcase scooter designed to fold down and fit in the boot of your car.
The idea was genius. You'd drive your car to the edge of town and then ride the final mile to the office on the scooter. It was the ultimate urban mobility solution 40 years before anyone really talked about urban mobility solutions.
In fact, Honda actually designed whole cars around it, with boot space tailor-made for the Motocompo.
Cars such as this, the Honda City, Honda's early 80s urban runabout. But this isn't just any Honda City, this is the Honda City Turbo 2, the pumped up performance version. And sure enough, there's just enough room in there for a fold-up moped.
The Motocompo weighs just 45 kilograms and it's just 1 meter long, so putting it in the car is child's play.
There, fits perfectly. I mean, there is literally no room for your shopping anymore, but hey, that's what Ocado's for. And I'm pretty sure they had that back in the 80s.
Ladies and gentlemen, madness.
What they definitely had in the 80s was baggy-trousered Scar enthusiasts Madness, who, despite being virtually unknown in Japan at the time, starred in a couple of Japanese TV ads for the city. Sug, Scar and a city car? It must be love.
Honda City Turbo.
The Turbo was the pet project of Hirotoshi Honda, son of founder Soichiro Honda. The idea was to take the City with its tallboy upright seating for 4 and give it a bit more oomph and chunkier styling. Just check out those flared wheel arches and that bonnet bulge. In Japan, it became known as the Bulldog, which is a bit unfair on bulldogs. Anyway, old man Honda was so impressed with the prototype that he fast-tracked it into production, making this the very first turbocharged Honda. Hirotoshi-san went on to run Mugen, Honda's de facto tuning division. In 1983, this Turbo 2 version came along, this time with an intercooler, meaning the 1.2 litre motor now produced a meaty 110 horsepower, nearly twice as much as the Bogo model could manage. It weighs just 735 kilograms, about the same as a Mini of the same era. So 0 to 62 miles an hour took just 8.4 seconds. It still does. While not as zingy as a naturally aspirated motor, any turbo lag is kept in check by an innovative 8-bit processor. Basically, it has the brain from a Nintendo. There's even more 80s goodness elsewhere. There's a cassette deck and plenty of room for your 80s cassettes, a digital turbo boost gauge, a digital quartz clock, a refrigerated glove box, and those graphic decals on the car and on the moped. The question is, was the City actually any good in the city? Let's start with the good bit, shall we? It's small and easy to park at just 3.4 metres long and 1.6 metres wide. It's only slightly bigger than an original Mini. It's nippy, so easy to dive in and out of traffic, and it comes with a moped. Actually, the Motocompo was more of an optional extra, but you'd be ticking that box, wouldn't you? But it wasn't all good. This unassisted steering is really heavy, especially at low speeds, and the car only really comes alive above 30 miles an hour, way above urban speed limits, and there's no space for your shopping in the boot on account of it being full of moped. Ultimately then, and despite its genius, the City Turbo didn't really catch on. In 1986, the City was completely discontinued. Sadly, the Motocompo died with it. But here's where we reach a crafty plot twist, because Honda, having recently shown off some new folding e-bikes, has just trademarked the name Moto Compacto. Are they plotting a comeback for the car and scooter combo? After all, they already make the perfect car in which to transport a mini moto. The all-new, all-electric Honda E. A Turbo 2 for the 21st century, only without the turbos. You can see the similarities straight away. Just look at those headlights. Little round circles right at the edges of their faces. Both cars have ridiculously dinky overhangs and both look good in white. But just how far has the city car come since, well, the city? The Honda E then, Honda's first proper attempt at an electric car. What do you get? Well, you get 125 miles of range, if you're lucky. You get 152 horsepower, and this car is rear-wheel drive, which is potentially quite a lot of fun when it's raining a bit like this. But the real benefit of that is a super tight turning circle, a bit like a London black cab. And then we get to this utterly mad Scandinavian lounge-style interior with these grey fabric seats and fake wood trim down here. And in front of me, no fewer than 6 screens, including cameras and screens instead of wing mirrors. What's it like to drive? Well, quite fast, in fact, up to 30 or 40 miles an hour at least, because you've got that instant torque. This is not a light car, by the way. It's pretty hefty, but it controls that weight really nicely. It feels sporty, it feels planted, it feels chunky, it feels over-engineered, like Honda has really sweated the small details. But which one will get you across town quickest? The old-timer with its turbocharger, or the 21st century startup with its e-motors and instant torque? There's only one way to settle this.